everybody, what is up? It is I, DPX. Welcome back to another episode of DPX Talks for about an hour. I'm DPX. I think I mentioned that already, and I think you should have known that already. I'm flying solo today, as my name implies, but no, I am by myself today. Yeah, I haven't done an episode in over half a year. That's not good. I really do like doing these episodes of the podcast. And I'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. We got some good episodes. We got some good topics today. We got I'm going to be talking about Pokemon Pokopia, or Pokopia, however you say it. The Project Helix, and my thoughts on just another gen of consoles. I'm going to be talking about some wrestling. I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on the road to Wrestlemania. Some Pixar sequels got some details, especially Monsters Inc. 3. We got layoffs at EA. Some news on the Warner Brothers and Paramount merger, and a whole lot more. So yeah, this should be an interesting one. Yeah, so I had to pause because I needed a sip of water. And then a giant-ass, fire alarm, or, fire truck siren went off. So, and it went on for quite a bit. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to get into sort of updates. Probably the longest gap in between episodes of the podcast, you know? The last one was, I think in June, maybe July of 2025. The last episode had Mad T in it, my friend Mad T as a guest. Unless there was another episode that I did that I'm completely forgetting, I don't think so. I think that was it. And it's been a long time. And, I don't know, I guess it's just it's just something odd. Something's odd. I get into a groove with this podcast. I do it, once a month. And then randomly, I don't do it in a month. And then I continue to not do it until it's I should probably bring it back, you know? I guess part of it is actually, I don't want my first episode back to be the Wrestlemania episode. We're going to talk a bit about the road to Wrestlemania later on. But, every year I do a full recap episode of Wrestlemania. And that's probably going to be the April episode. Yeah, I guess for some reason I just don't want that to be the first episode back after so long. But, yeah, it's sort of just this has just been a problem with the podcast for a while. I've just taken such long breaks with it, and I don't understand why. Hopefully I can change this. I don't keep fucking doing this, you know. Cause it is cool. It is nice to just talk about some video game news, you know, because my content has been more about game reviews or movie TV reviews or top 10 lists or the solo missions, which is the siren's going off again. But I hope you don't hear it. But the solo missions is I take a game or a bunch of games, and then I just do highly edited, highly scripted videos on them. I don't really have a series where I get to talk about news, you know, which is weird because I feel normally people who talk about news, this is how I felt when I would just make videos about topical things. It's I don't want to just do that, but I like doing things that are I like doing solo missions or top 10 lists that I can put them out and they're not going to be outdated due to the sheer topic, the subject of the video, right? Or even reviews. It's yeah, I'm reviewing a game that just came out, But you can watch my review of the game at any point, you know, and it won't be irrelevant. But I do like doing this every now and then, talking about news. And that's why I like doing the podcast. I have started, though, when Blue Point was shut down by Sony, like a month ago, I did make a YouTube short. So maybe when I'm not doing a podcast, because I do them once a month, and so maybe if there's, like, something that happens after, like, the month's episode of the podcast and it's too soon to do another episode, I'll make a YouTube short. So yeah, as for content, you might have noticed that the content's been very slow. And I addressed this in a community post, and yeah, I don't know. It's just this weird thing. Like I'm not. It's not like I'm doing solo missions that differently. It's not even like I'm doing top 10 lists that differently. Or even reviews. I'm like, my content is coming out as normal as they would. It just feels like there hasn't been a lot, and I don't really know. I guess part of it is also because I've been doing a lot for the MiiKcast, which is my other channel where it's like a collaboration with me and a bunch of my friends. And we've been, like, since, like, what, early to mid January, or it was more like early. I'll say mid January. We've been getting a new video out. Excuse me. We've been putting out new video every week. Excuse me again. So a new MiiKcast video has been going out every week. So I guess when I'm not working on videos for this channel, which I kind of, like, almost always am, but when I'm not actively working on videos for this channel, maybe working on videos for the MiiKcast. So if you want to see what else I'm doing other than this main channel, go subscribe to the MiiKcast. But anyways, now let's get into this. We're going to start with, of course, the game that sort of, it's kind of taken over the world by storm. And not what I expected, but Pokemon Pokopia. I feel like I've heard, like, official pronunciations of both of them. Like, people within the game, like, people who, like, the developers of the game and all that say Pokopia and say Pokopia. Now, I will admit where I'm wrong. When this game was announced and more details came out about it, I was one of those people saying, this game is going to be bad, no one's going to play it, nobody's going to care about it, because it's a terrible idea, and, like, literally, who cares? You know, it's just a Pokemon Animal Crossing clone. I will admit where I'm wrong, because that could not be further from the truth. Excuse me. Pokemon Pokopia came out, and again, like, I thought it was like, nuh-uh, like, just no way was this gonna work, you know, because it's a new Pokemon game, like a Pokemon spin-off game that's like an Animal Crossing clone for $70 and a game key card. Which, you know, I'm not one of those people who hates game key cards. I'll concede that, like, when a game is announced to be coming to Switch 2 and then it's revealed to be a game key card, I will say that is definitely, like, deflating. Excuse me. Like, it's definitely, like, it's deflating the excitement of the game coming to Switch 2 a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm not, like, of the opinion that game key cards they're not physical games. I think that argument is stupid. If, to say that they're not fully physical is, I think, reasonable and true. It isn't fully physical. But would you say, if you buy, like, a physical game for your PS5, is that physical? Yeah, it is physical. So is a game key card. You physically own a cartridge that you need to put into your console in order to play the game. That's a physical game, you know? So, yeah. Well, Pokemon Pokopia. So, okay, what I was trying to say is Pokemon or game key cards, I don't always have a problem. I'm not on, like, the boycott fucking game key cards thing. I had an issue with Pokopia being a game key card because Nintendo said their games weren't going to be key cards. And I know it's technically not a Nintendo game. They didn't make this game, but like it's a Nintendo IP. So yeah, I feel like Pokopia had a lot of things going up against it, but it turned out to be. Not only is it like the best reviewed game of the year on Metacritic so far, it's like the best reviewed game on Metacritic in the entire Pokemon franchise, which is crazy. But it hit, and the hits keep on hitting because as of like today. This article just came out from Game Rant. Pokemon Pokopia reaches major sales milestone in just 4 days. I'll read this. Pokemon Pokopia is selling extremely well as the first official figures from Nintendo show it moving millions of copies of the game within just a few days of its launch. Pokemon fans who have been trying to hunt down a physical copy of Pokemon Pokopia, the first life simulation in the franchise's 30th year anniversary, probably won't be surprised by the news, as it confirms the success that many have already anticipated. Released worldwide on March 5th, Pokemon Pokopia, instantly resonated with instantly resonated with Switch 2 owners, giving them an active role in transforming a deserted island into a suitable habitat that hundreds of blah blah blah. Comparisons to Nintendo's popular Animal Crossing Life Sim franchise, combined with the recognizable Pokemon name, have helped to spur sales so much that Amazon increased the price of Pokemon Pokopia physical copies by $10 due to high demand. Pokemon Pokopia's sales numbers are huge. With demand for Pokemon Pokopia evident, it's little surprise that it has been selling well, and Nintendo has now released the official figures to prove it. According to the company's official website, global sales of Pokemon Pokopia exceeded 2.2 million copies during its first 4 full days on the market. A little over 45% of those sales came from Japan, which reports more than 1 million units being sold in that time frame, but the effect of the game's popularity can be felt around the world. Numerous brick-and-mortar retailers in the United States, Canada, and Europe had been warning customers that they had sold out of copies of the game within 24 hours of its release, but the availability of digital download has hopefully satisfied most of the fans. So I'm going to stop reading it there. But, this game is selling out. And I feel like you don't always get that. You don't always get games actually selling out. Because, it's a video game. It's different from, a collector's item. Or, some games are collector's items, right? Some games are made in, limited quantities. But, this is just, a new game release, right? And, it's selling out. So, what is it about Pokemon Pokopia that is, resonating with people? That is just, hitting, And, being so popular. And it's gone viral. There's memes, the title has been, a meme, the logo has been, a meme template, And, I've seen some of the dialogue being, really funny. We can, let's see if I can find something here. We just, I sent some on Discord once. Discord's being shit, though. Like, see if I can share my screen. Yo, look at that. Okay. Look, it says, I threw up. Let's get this place humid. Yo, where am I? Like, this is actual fucking dialogue in the game. Which is crazy. But, like, in an official Pokemon game, you got Charmander saying, yo, I threw up. Like, that's funny. Like, I cannot believe that's a real thing. I think what resonated with people here is just that it's different. Like, it's an actual, like, I guess people have been waiting for, like, something on the Switch 2 to be, like, new, exciting, and they got that with Mario Kart World. Say what you want about that game, but they got that with that game. They got that with Donkey Kong, you know. Not everyone seemed to love Kirby Air Riders, but I loved it. I really enjoyed Metroid Prime 4. But, you know, I feel like this game is just more appealing than maybe I gave it credit for. Excuse me. Because, like, not only is it reviewing really well, it's selling really well, it's also selling out. It's like not only reviewing really well, it's like reviewing the best. Like the best of any Pokemon game, the best of any game that has come out this year. And granted, it's only March. There's still other games to come out. And when you look at the rest of this year, it's looking like a fucking, like, insane year for games. This game, though, like, I could, like, based on the discussion around the game, I can totally see it making it into the Game of the Year discussion at the end of the year. You know, I could see it possibly being like a nominee. It's too early for that. I get that, but like the discussion around it's really positive. You know, and so yeah, I just found that interesting that Pokemon Pokopia is kind of popping off right now. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Anyways, I'm going to move on to this other less exciting and less happy topic. Battlefield. I didn't play the new Battlefield. Just because, like, I played the past few and I'm like, and they were kind of disappointing. So I just sort of just thought, like, okay, this time I'm going to wait to buy it for $70. And then the one time I do that, it's really fucking good. And I still haven't bought it. Not because, like, I'm refusing to buy it, just, like, I haven't gotten around to getting it. So, yeah. But it did something crazy. First of all, it was, like, a return to form for Battlefield, as many people said. And the crazy thing is, it became the best-selling game of 2025. Again, okay, 2008, I think the best-selling game was Mario Kart Wii. Since then, every year, the best-selling game, on the US sales chart, at least, was either a Call of Duty game or a game by Rockstar. That streak was broken in 2023 when Hogwarts Legacy came out. And then in 2024, it was fucking Call of Duty again. But 2025, like, streak ended quickly. The second streak ended real quickly because Battlefield beat out Call of Duty, and Call of Duty didn't even come close. Like, that was not a good year for Call of Duty. So Battlefield, like, came back strong, and actually, like, did something insane. Well, apparently that wasn't enough. Because, comes to us from Engadget, what the fuck? EA laid off staffers across Battlefield Studios to better align its teams. Shut the fuck up. I don't even think you heard that. I just got, like, a notification from my VPN, which is unfortunately not the sponsor of today's episode, although that would have been crazy. That would have been, like, a crazy good segue. Shut up! It just keeps popping up. Like, you didn't even hear it. You can't even hear it. But, yeah. Okay, so, reading from Engadget, EA axed an undisclosed number of employees across the game studios behind the Battlefield franchise. As first reported by IGN, EA told affected employees that the layoffs were part of a realignment across the Battlefield studios, which include DICE, Criterion, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studios. When asked about the report, an EA spokesperson said in a statement that we've made select changes within our Battlefield organization to better align our teams around what matters most to our community. IGN reported that all the involved studios will remain operational, will remain operational, but the layoffs will affect multiple offices. The shakeup may come as a surprise to staffers, especially after Battlefield 6 racked up more than 7 million copies sold in the first 3 days following its release in October. EA even called the latest Battlefield title the best-selling shooter title of 2025 in its third quarter report. For fiscal year 26, which disclosed the company's net revenue of more than $1.9 billion for the quarter. And then a quote: Battlefield remains one of our biggest priorities, and we're continuing to invest in the franchise, guided by player feedback and insights from Battlefield Labs, an EA spokesperson also said in a statement. Despite being one of EA's most popular franchises, Battlefield isn't the only one to suffer staffing cuts. Full Circle, the developer behind the Skate, I think I meant to say behind Skate, that's also owned by EA, or maybe a comma there, because there's a period after Skate as well. Also announced layoffs and restructuring in February. However, EA isn't the only company in the industry to look at downsizing its personnel, and then it gets into Ubisoft when they did all that earlier this year. But yeah, okay. So, you heard it. Despite, EA, or despite Battlefield being a crazy good success, I don't know if it's the best-selling game in the series. I don't know if they said that, but it was the best-selling game of last year. In a year that saw a Call of Duty game, of course, but that also saw a new Mario Kart come out, and albeit with a new console, but also with a new Pokemon game. Battlefield beat out Call of Duty, Mario Kart, Pokemon, the sports games that, people always buy them every year. It was successful. That should give you some stability, should it not? That should mean you're safe. Now look, I'm not a businessman. I don't work in the industry, and I don't know, but you have, your game was the best-selling game of the year it came out, and you're not Call of Duty, and you're also not Rockstar, so that's a big deal. So you have that, and you still laid off a bunch of employees due to realigning, restructuring. Come on, EA. I feel like EA is just always going to be a company that people love to hate. They will always be a company that we shit on. But I feel like they haven't been totally, the scummiest within the past number of years. Not that they've been great, but, the days of them being, with the whole, Star Wars Battlefront 2 loot box debacle, those days I think are far gone, right? Again, they're not perfect, but, they do shitty things that other shitty companies do. But what the fuck? Again, you have a studio, or studios rather, that made that made a game that was the best-selling game of the year. And once again, that was not Rockstar or a Call of Duty game. And you still laid them off. I think that just goes to show nobody's safe, which is unfortunate. If that wasn't like echoed, like back when like Tango Gameworks got shut down, despite doing everything right. This studio did everything right, and they're not getting shut down, but like an undisclosed number of layoffs, that I feel like that means there's a lot. And yeah, I don't think anyone's safe. That's about all I got to say about this, though. What are your thoughts? All right. Now we're gonna move on to another topic. We're gonna move on to some wrestling. You know, I'm a big wrestling fan. I think you guys can tell. I mention that every time I mention wrestling here. It's got to stop. I think you guys understand that I'm a wrestling fan. But, like, I love wrestling. And I really like WWE. I really like AEW. I like all wrestling, you know? I'm not about this whole tribalism shit. For you gamers that listen to me, you know how dumb the console wars are? There's a similar thing with wrestling and, like, wrestling promotions, which are probably just as dumb. So, yeah. And coming up, you know, look, I'm not saying, despite that, I'm not about this tribalism. I do gravitate more towards WWE, just because that's, like, what I grew up on, and that's, like, where, like all my favorite wrestlers are. I'm not saying that means it's better, you know, like, not even objectively better. I'm just saying I gravitate more towards that. Right. I'll still watch AEW, right? I haven't really had, like, a proper AEW topic on this show. It's mostly been WWE. But, I don't know. I guess any AEW topic that I could have covered hasn't really, like... Yeah, I don't know. One day, maybe there'll be an AEW topic. There were things that I could have talked about, but maybe they didn't line up with an episode of the podcast. I don't know, but I'm getting off topic. It's my fucking ADHD talking. But, we're on the road to WrestleMania, and it's always an exciting time, even when, like, it's a lackluster road. Excuse me. Even when it's a lackluster road to WrestleMania, like how, spoiler, I'm about to get into. Even when it's, like, a bit lackluster, I still know that, like, we're getting to a WrestleMania, which, like, that thought is exciting, you know? And even when you get a bad WrestleMania, it's still WrestleMania, so, like, it's still exciting. I have some gripes here. Excuse me. And, yes, the online sentiment towards Triple H, who's, like, the head booker of WWE, has been, he's a fraud. He's triple fraud. He's a bald fraud, is what people call him. These, like, you know, he's bad at booking. Look, people here, I feel like a lot of the people saying Triple H's booking is terrible started watching within the past, like, 3 or so years, when Triple H took over, and his booking was really good. Now, granted, I don't know what the fuck happened, right? Maybe TKO is getting in the way. Maybe he's just, like, maybe he lost a bit of his spark. I don't know. Something happened where he is, I still love WWE, but I'm not going to argue against the fact that there has been, like, since, like, the start of last year, there has been a significant dip in quality of the booking, right? And it hasn't been all bad since, you know. There's been some good moments, some really good PLEs, you know. I'll even say really solid stretches of time, you know, from, like, this point to that point. You got moments from this point to that point is what I'm saying. that were really good, like entire PLE cycles were really solid, but like it's like hit or miss. Then we get to this road to WrestleMania, and they are in a bit of panic mode. Excuse me. They're in a bit of panic mode because before they have any matches announced, oh no, there's not many tickets being sold. Even though the ticket prices are ridiculously overpriced. Like you need to sell like an entire like mortgage on your house to fucking go to WrestleMania. Plus, you're going to the same city in the exact same like arena or stadium, rather. It's a stadium. You're going to the same place 2 years in a row in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. Tourism is down in Vegas, which is part of the reason why they wanted like Las Vegas. They wanted WrestleMania to go back there again. But also, like with everything, I don't want to get political, but with everything going on in the country right now, people are sort of afraid to travel here. So ticket sales are low. Now this was before we got matches announced for WrestleMania, right? Or even when we just had one match. That one match was CM Punk and Roman Reigns, which is definitely like a huge money match. And since that we have 4 matches. We got that match. We got Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer, which I think has so far the build has been really solid for that match. Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley, which the build hasn't really been that crazy good so far, but I will say I'll give it this. I think that match definitely has the star power. And then this final match that we know about thus far, Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the undisputed title. Now look, I'm not a Cody Rhodes hater. This has nothing to really do with him. And people complain. So to give some background, Cody Rhodes, he's like their guy. He's like their new John Cena for you who don't really follow wrestling. John Cena is obviously. Cody's like their new John Cena type of like, face of the company, right? And so he's like the champion, but at the beginning of the year, he lost the title to this guy, Drew McIntyre. And, people have been wanting to see Drew McIntyre hold that title for a while. He's held it before, but never really given, like, a proper chance. Like, he held it during COVID, where, like, he didn't get to have his run in front of, like, any fans. So he was never given, like, a proper run with the title. He's finally given one here. And then, like, before even we get to WrestleMania, though, Drew McIntyre drops the title back to Cody on an episode of SmackDown, even though, like, in storyline, they had in the contract, like, a storyline contract, Cody can't get a rematch unless he wins, like, the Royal Rumble, which he didn't win, or unless he wins the Chamber, which he didn't win. And people brought that up as a point of contention because Cody still ended up getting a rematch. But also, like, there's consequences for the bad guys. And Drew McIntyre, like, went back on his word where he would, like, stay out of, like, Cody's matches and all that, right? I don't have a problem with all that. My problem here is I feel like this is just reflective and indicative of a problem with WWE and their booking on this road to WrestleMania. It's just that it feels lazy. Like, Cody winning a title, winning the big title on a random episode of SmackDown 6 weeks before WrestleMania to set up a dream match that people have been wanting to see for a while. Match that they've been, like, hinting at for a while between Cody Rhodes and, like, his former mentor, Randy Orton. Like, I'm excited to see that match, and I'm happy we're finally getting it, but I wish we would get it, like, under different circumstances, because this feels impromptu. It feels like, it feels desperate. It's like it feels like, oh shit, we're not selling enough tickets. We're gonna Cody versus Orton. There we go. That's gonna move tickets, and it might. But the problems with the ticket sales, it's not because of the booking. It really isn't. You know? It's because of the ticket prices and outside circumstances. Maybe the booking has something to do with it, but like, you get hardcore, diehard wrestling fans that want they're gonna buy tickets regardless of the booking, but maybe they aren't. Maybe they don't have the money to buy these tickets, where nosebleeds cost as much as a fucking front row ticket should cost. Like, there's no world where that should be acceptable. That's the problem here. Yet they want to address the problem by not addressing the problem. So, like, look, nothing against Cody, and people want to say, oh, the YouTube upload of his win for the title, it got disliked like crazy. I'm sure there's like genuine dislikes, but there's reports that was dislike botted. Someone bought dislikes, which is so stupid. Like, that's just a stupid thing that you can do on YouTube. But like, it just feels lazy. And this is just one match, yeah. But like, it's the fucking undisputed title. Like, it's the biggest title in the company. That and like the world heavyweight title. Like, this is like what you're doing with like your top guy, your face of the company, and you just like lazily threw him back in the picture. To make this big marquee match that, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for, and there's a lot of story there, and there's a lot of potential. And I'm sure, like, I didn't really actually get to see their match at Night of Champions, right? But also, like, that was just a completely different story. This one's, like, actually, there's, like, way more stakes in this one. And I'm sure they can have really good chemistry. I'm sure they can put on a really solid match. From what I heard, their Night of Champions match was not that bad. It was a solid match and all that, I just feel like you could have taken, like, a better route to this, Maybe, like, you could have given Drew the title earlier, and then maybe have Cody win the title back at the Royal Rumble or at the Chamber, I just don't, like, this wasn't, like, they screwed over Drew, and, like, but even that aside, this just feels lazy. You do this match that people have been wanting to see, but you put it together in such a lazy way. Look, I'm still looking forward to WrestleMania, People, I feel like, because WWE has taken a bit of a dip in quality, now, whenever anything sort of, like, even a little bit questionable happens, people call for Triple H's head. And it's honestly ridiculous. That's part of the reason I'm not on Twitter anymore. It was kind of hard for me to enjoy wrestling without while being on Twitter. That's not the whole reason why, but like, it's part of it. But like, I don't know. Like, I really hope the next 6 weeks, when they build this match along with all the other matches, there's a bunch of matches that they're hinting at. I really hope those are built really well, because right now the matches that we know about so far, I actually don't think are being built that badly. Like Roman and Punk, I think has got a solid build so far. I think Liv and Stephanie has had a solid build so far. I think Jade and Rhea, like, the build sort of just started, to be fair. So it's time for it to really get going. But yeah, like, I'm still looking forward to WrestleMania, but honestly more because it's WrestleMania as opposed to anything that's actually going to be happening there. So I hope they just turn things around, not just because of, like, not just for WrestleMania, but just like the booking in general. It's not like the worst thing ever. It's not this doom and gloom shit. It's not like WWE's dead. It's not that, but it's very questionable. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. As for other things to talk about, there's got some stuff. For example, we got Pixar sequels. As it is announced, Monsters Inc. 3 is happening. This comes to us from Sci-Fi. Pixar will scream, sorry, laugh, in parentheses, it actually says that, all the way to the bank with a third entry in the iconic Monsters Inc. franchise. News of the Disney-owned animation studio's return to Monstropolis was reported March 6th 6 days ago, by the Wall Street Journal, which spoke to sources familiar with the matter. It's unclear at this time if the film will serve as a sequel to the 2001 original, or the 2013 prequel, Monsters University. Or the 2013 prequel, Monsters University. Monsters at Work, a television series follow-up to the former released 2 seasons on Disney+. I never watched the second season. I thought the first season was alright, though. Pixar committed to both sequels and original stories. Nevertheless, the project marks the latest reflection of the company's ever-growing focus on sequels to its most successful IPs after a string of financial disappointments like Luca, Turning Red, Lightyear, and Elio, the first 3 of which were deeply impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Not so much Lightyear, but Luca and Turning Red were, mainly because they weren't in theaters. The plan is to fully correct the ship with Toy Story 5 this summer, while new entries for The Incredibles and Coco arrive in 2028 and 2029, respectively. Okay, so I guess I could stop there. Look, I love Monsters Inc. It's iconic for a reason, you know, but I'm worried. Pixar's really, they are really, doubling, tripling, quadrupling, quintupling down on their sequels. You know, they really are. And it kind of feels like a bit much. We're getting sequels to movies that I don't think need sequels, right? I like Toy Story is the big example. You know, you got the Toy Story trilogy, amazing. 4 was questionable, but I really liked 4. It's not as good as any of the 3 that came before, but 4 is great. And it wrapped up Woody's arc really well. And then they're gonna fucking undo that in 5. I don't think 4 undid much what 3 did. 5 is just gonna undo the main thing that 4 did. That's frustrating. We got Incredibles 3, which I don't I guess you could make a sequel to that, but actually have a time jump, you know. If there's no time jump, then I don't understand the point of it. Coco 2, I guess there's some potential there, although I don't know what you can do. But I do trust Pixar with that. I don't know why, but that one sounds interesting. Monsters Inc. 3, you know, I guess we've never actually gotten a proper sequel to Monsters Inc., you know. Monsters at Work was a follow-up. That was a show, you know, and a whatever show. This one is a proper movie, and I'm just interested. I guess I don't have much to say. It's just I don't know what you can do, but I'm sure there is stuff to do. Will it follow Monsters at Work, or will it not? I don't know, but yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Next up, some big acquisition news. As well, I mean, I'm sure you've heard the news. I have an itch on my foot. That's the news. No, I'm sure you've heard the news. Back in December, Netflix won a bidding war to acquire Warner Brothers. It seemed like it was really going to go ahead. Paramount was doing a hostile takeover. Then it turned out they were I don't know if you really looked into, if you may have heard of this, but Paramount were not backing down. They were really trying to they were using their ties to the president. They were hinting at using Saudi money to acquire Warner Brothers and all that. And eventually, their asking price was way bigger than what Netflix thought Warner Brothers was worth. So Netflix backed out, and Paramount is now going to be buying Warner Brothers. Well, recently, David Ellison, the current CEO of Warner Brothers, or not Warner Brothers, of Skydance Media, who owns Paramount, had a meeting with Warner Brothers executives, and let's just read this. This comes to us from Screen Rant. Paramount CEO David Ellison's turbulent first meeting with WB execs revealed in new report. The first meeting between Paramount Skydance CEO David Ellison and Warner Bros. Discovery was reportedly not smooth sailing. After Netflix seemingly defeated Paramount in the bidding war to acquire Warner Bros., Ellison continued to come forward with new offers until Warner Bros. Eventually accepted and Netflix stepped away. If the merger between Paramount and Warner Brothers is legally approved, it raises many questions about the future of the entertainment industry. Excuse me. Per a report from the Hollywood Reporter, during the first formal meeting between Paramount and Warner Brothers, Ellison admitted that getting to this point had been turbulent. While an executive in attendance shared that there is still a tremendous amount of uncertainty over here, we were hoping for more. Ellison provided assurances that there would not be mass layoffs as expected, but an individual at the meeting said, "We don't believe him." An insider who attended the meeting also noted that as opposed to the similar gathering in December where Netflix co-CEOs Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters spoke, that felt more celebratory and there was a plan. Here it was I don't know, just tell us what's going on. Ellison reportedly spoke enthusiastically about Paramount and Warner Brothers, spending more on creating new content along with reiterating promises of 30 theatrical movies released per year, merging Paramount Plus with an HBO Max, and keeping both studios on their lots, but did not provide the specifics that many were hoping for. Part of the reason Ellison is not able to share some of these specifics is because the deal has yet to officially close. The acquisition is not expected to be finalized until the third quarter of this year. But if this does not happen by September 30th, Paramount will have to pay Warner Brothers shareholders a ticking fee, adding an extra 25 cents for every quarter that the deal hasn't been completed. While one of the major concerns with Netflix was whether they would release movies in theaters and honor an extended theatrical release window, there are plenty of other concerns that come with Paramount and Warner Brothers joining together. This includes the expected layoffs and the danger of monopolizing whether Paramount can follow through on delivering 30 movies in theaters each year between the two studios. So I'm not going to I think I read what I needed to. So yeah, there's the big meeting between Paramount and Warner Brothers, between David Ellison and Warner Brothers, and they were not impressed. It did not really seem excited. He seemed excited is what it sounds like, but he didn't really have a plan. He was just... Look, I've heard from a lot of analysts as well, and just a lot of, like, regulatory stuff and all that, where this deal seems a little questionable, and people don't think it's going to go through. I mean, you know how big this deal is? 111 million... No, not million. $111 billion. That's crazy. I want you to know that's bigger than, like, Microsoft and Activision. That's bigger... I think that's bigger than Disney and Fox. No, it has to be bigger than Disney and Fox. I don't know... Like, okay. I was starting to come around on Netflix and Warner Brothers. Because... Well... I listened to John Campea. Shout out John Campea. And he covered a lot of, like, what Ted Sarandos was saying about, like, no, we're not, we don't want to have Warner Brothers movies play, like, skip the theatrical run, you know? We're not, like, it's like, Netflix is a streaming company acquiring a theatrical company. That's how they can get into the theatrical business. And, you know, also... Netflix was buying Warner Brothers for, like, what, $80 billion or something like that? It was, like, something crazy like that. But, like, they had enough money. If they wanted to kill theaters, they had enough money to buy out, like, all the theatrical chains, and it would have been less than it would have been for that they were buying Warner Brothers for. So he made a lot of good points there. But this one is different. Like, this one's like a big monopoly because it's like two competitors. They're like two companies in the same, like, you know, in the same market. Like Netflix, like I said, they're not a theatrical company. They might release theatrical movies, but they're not a theatrical company. Paramount is a theatrical company. And the other thing is, David Ellison was, like, CEO of Skydance Media and bought Paramount. Since then, he hasn't really done much with Paramount. Now he wants to buy Warner Brothers. I don't know. It's just a messy situation. I kind of hope this deal doesn't go through. I wasn't even sure if I wanted the Netflix deal to go through, but I would honestly prefer that over this. You know, there's a lot more because there's a lot more concerns with this one. They want to, like, kill HBO. They want to merge HBO into Paramount, not the other way around. HBO's the biggest name in, like, entertainment history. How are you gonna kill that? I don't know. I hope this doesn't go through, and even if it does, I hope everything's alright. But yeah, it's just some concerns I have. Anyways, we're gonna move on to the final topic. And this isn't so much news as it is just something I want to rant about a little bit. Last week, Microsoft revealed Project Helix. Not really revealed it. They didn't reveal it necessarily, but they announced it, and that's going to be their next console. We don't see it, we don't know what it looks like, but it's the next Xbox PC hybrid, hence the name Helix. And, look, I'll just, Engadget. Microsoft will start providing game studios with Project Helix consoles in 2027. We'll read a bit of this. Microsoft plans to begin shipping early units of its next generation console, codenamed Project Helix. The game studio is starting sometime next year. And then, quote, "We're sending alpha versions of Project Helix to developers starting in 2027, said Jason Ronald, Vice President of Next Generation for Xbox. According to IGN, which was present at the company's GDC 2026 presentation, where it shared early details about the new device. Ronald did not clarify what he meant by alpha version, but given the keynote's developer focus, presumably he meant dev kits, which studios could use to start creating games for the new console. So blah blah blah. Goes into a bit of like the chip shortage and all that. Look. So developers being given dev kits for the next Xbox next year. I feel like that means it's coming out maybe like 2028. But here's the thing. Nobody wants new consoles. It's not time for that yet. That's gonna be my rant here. Why are we talking about the next generation when, like, yes, by 2027 the PS5 and the Xbox Series will have been out for 7 years. That's the amount of time the PS4 and Xbox One were out before the PS5 and Xbox Series came out. And then we also got, like, how long was the 360 and, like, PS3? I think the 360 got, like, a year head start, but, like, about, like, no, that one was longer, actually. But, like, at this point in the PS4's life, for example, was 2019. And by then I remember feeling like the sentiment online was, yeah, I think it's time soon for, like, new consoles, right? No. Like, technically, like, okay, not technically, the new generation actually started in 2020. But you gotta remember, like, that was during COVID. There was a massive chip shortage. So there's scalper issues like crazy. Like, crazier than I've seen any other console ever. And because of all that, there was an extended cross-gen period, right? Like, some of the biggest early games on the PS5. Like, I know we're talking about Xbox first, but now I'm talking about PlayStation. It's just, like, the early, like, biggest games on the PS5, most of them were also on PS4. It wasn't until 2023 where people finally actually got to get, like, they were actually able to get the PS5 and Xbox Series, and Sony and Microsoft actually started to make exclusives for their new gen consoles, right? So despite this generation really starting in 2020, it didn't actually feel like it really started until 2023. And I get it too, because, like, yes, you can't have these consoles forever. The PS5 and the Xbox Series, they cannot be around forever, you know? But, like, it's not time. Nobody, and I'm telling you, nobody wants new consoles. Nobody is like, I need that PS6. Because what the fuck is the PS6 gonna do? What is it gonna do? Like, we've gotten to a point where, like, video game graphics have, like, I'm not gonna say they've peaked, but, like, the evolution of it's just gotten slower, right? Like, I remember hearing this analogy with cars, right? Like, back in the olden days, people thought, oh, in 2015, we're gonna have flying cars, you know? But it turns out just development on cars just slowed down, right? And we're still not at the point where we get flying cars. I think I might have seen a report that the first ever flying car was made, but, like, that's an anomaly, you know? So I think the same thing has happened with video game graphics. It's like, you can only do so much, and then it's just like, yeah, cool. Because, like, without, like, you also gotta understand, like, the like, economic climate of the world right now. And, like, shit is more expensive, people are making less money, and the prices of games and consoles are only going up, you know, and it's just not time. It's not time for a new console, you know. Like, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think I could speak for everyone, but I'll just speak for myself for now. I have not seen less excitement. I have not been less excited for a new generation of consoles. I remember being really excited for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. I remember there was a lot of excitement for the PS4 and Xbox One. I don't really remember much from the generation before that. I was like, 2-3 years old? I was 2 when the 360 came out. I was 3 when the PS3 and Wii came out. Right? But like, you know, it just, like, there's no excitement for this because it's not time. And these dev cycles need to, you either need to, like, shorten the dev cycles or extend the console life cycles. You know, you can't have both. You can't have these all, like, super long dev cycles and the same console lifespan. You can't do that, right? Because you got, like, this entire console generation, we've gotten, like, look at the PS5, we've gotten, like, one, like, new God of War game. Like, we haven't gotten a brand new Naughty Dog game. Like, there's Intergalactic, but who knows when that's coming out. We, like, Insomniac's been really good on the PS5, to be fair. You know, they put out 2 games, and they're putting out another one this year. 3 games if you want to actually count, no, I think you should count Miles Morales. That wasn't exclusive to PS5. But yeah, no, so Insomniac's good. But, like, you know, Blue Point, we saw what happened with them. You know, Ben Studio, like, what the fuck is even happening with them? Sucker Punch put out 1 game this entire generation, you know. It's just, like, I don't, like, I feel like there's just a disconnect. There's a disconnect with these corporations, with Sony and Microsoft, and where they think the market is right now, like, what demand there is for new consoles, what they think about that, and what there actually is for that. There's no demand. I've never seen less excitement for new consoles. Delay them. Please, for the love of God, delay these consoles. Nobody wants them right now. That's my thoughts. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about any of this? That'll do it for this episode of DPX Talks for about an hour. I'll hopefully be back in another month. Maybe with a general episode. If not, definitely with the Wrestlemania episode. And then after that, I'll do more of these regular episodes. Possibly with guests. I still have yet to get my friend Ward on here. And there's some other people that maybe I can get on. But, yeah. If you're listening to me on any of the podcast, you know, sites, go subscribe to me on YouTube, DPX Solo. And if you're on YouTube, go follow me. Basically, wherever you get your podcasts from. Excuse me. And yeah, DPX Talks for about an hour. Signing off. Bye, guys.